right, so going with this concept, so first we'll talk about the ASA firewall overview. So if you know that, if I can ask you a question, I mean, what is a firewall? I think all of you can answer me. I want you to answer me that. What do you mean by a firewall? So basically, it's a a packet filtering device, right? It's a packet filtering device. Generally, firewall comes in layer 3. It works in layer 3. I should say like that. It works in layer 3 of your OSI. So the idea is it works at network layer and it deals with IP addresses and IP packets. And basically, it's a packet filtering device which inspects the traffic flow and takes filtering decision, right, according to the security policies that you configure, security policies or rules, right? So basically, you have to configure security policies in order to allow some traffics to span across a firewall network. Firewall are always called as, they are always referred as perimeter device. What do you mean by that? It is nothing but your edge device of your enterprise. So if you think about an edge device, generally you can think like your edge device will be a router. So you have a concept like you have got core layer, then you place your distribution devices, you place your access devices, right? That's your 3-tier architecture. In today's world, you can go with other architecture like a collapsed core. You can have collapsed core architecture, and we can have collapsed core with a single environment. I mean, you use a highly capability switch that connects your WAN and that connects your LAN with abundant ports, right? So it's a single or 1-tier topology that you can think about, right? So it connects your LAN as well as it connects your WAN infrastructure. Also, we have got 2-tier logic, so which goes with a collapsed core and access. So I can say collapsed core and access. And nowadays in data center world, this is becoming very famous, that is spine and leaf, right? So the idea is we have major spine switches and major leaf switches. They're connected in redundant fashion, right? And between the spines, they don't have any sort of interconnectivity. So, and all the links that we have in spine to leaf, they are basically your layer 3 links, right? Whereas in core, distribution and access layer, if you go with 3-tier architecture, I mean, you'll have a layer 3 between the core and the distribution, and access to distribution, it is all your layer 2 links. So you think about VLANs, you think about trunking, STP, Cisco way of VTP, all they are implemented between the distribution and the access blocks. And in the core, you normally run with IP routing. So it depends on your customer environment. I mean, whether you are going with 3-tier or collapsed core, or with 1-tier or 2-tier or with spine leaf, I mean, you can deploy your firewall solutions at any of this enterprise platform or with any enterprise architecture. Generally, your firewalls are placed at the edge of your network, right? So basically, it is after the core, right? After the core. And also, you can place your firewall in layer 2 mode. So generally, if you place the firewall in the edge, it is called as a layer 3 deployment. And if you place the firewall at layer 2 mode, the Cisco way, it is called as transparent firewall. I will teach you that as well. What's the meaning of transparent firewall and how it is deployed and how it will work. So if you deploy the firewall, within access to distribution block right here, if any firewall is deployed here in layer 2, that can work with VLANs and work with MAC addresses, filter based on MAC traffic or VLAN policies. So that basically, in layer 2 transparent deployment mode. So first we would actually begin our discussion with, layer 3 deployment, basically placing the firewall on the edge, okay, edge of your network. So generally what you do is you can place your firewalls, after the router. So if you have a company, if you have an edge router sitting here, from the edge router, you can connect your firewall equipment as a hardware. And from the firewall, you can connect your, directly you can connect your ISP. That is also one solution, right? Another solution is, your router is facing your ISP. Okay, and beyond the router, inline you connect your firewall. So here the LAN, so you have a LAN switches over here. From there you connect your all the enterprise devices. So LAN lives here. Now what happens is beyond the firewall you'll be connecting your switch, and from there you connect your LAN. So depends on majorly one thing. Okay, so you see here the first design that I'm talking about, I've placed the firewall directly connected with the ISP. So let us say this is your LAN, the interface of the firewall going towards your LAN, and the interface of the firewall going towards your WAN or ISP, right? So generally you can do that if you don't think of running BGP, because you don't want, though the firewall supports BGP, but you don't want your firewall to run BGP, because BGP is a processor intensive protocol, as we all know. So because of which, you can place the firewall beyond the router. And if you think of running BGP, I mean, then you can place the router that runs BGP deployments with the ISP. So basically, the placement of firewall on the edge depends on majorly one thing, which is implementation of BGP as a routing protocol. All right.